Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? It is another episode of Brothers Like Us on Living Out Loud Radio TV. Thank you guys for joining us. So I came on earlier this week just to sort of process uh, the verdict and wanted to sort of continue this conversation for those of you who may want to join in, give your input. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, and as usual, there's no telling where our conversation will go today. I'm hoping that the other guys could jump on, but for me, I just think it's incredibly important that we process properly, and I think we have been. Letting Allowing the people in the know that know, so the legal minds, the ad those people that are out there advocating for our community, advocating for change of legislation that seems to be geared against us, even though it may be written a certain way and it's supposed to be punishment and reward is supposed to be doled out evenly. We know that it is not. And it's important that we have those people in the courtrooms, in the legislature that is trying to bring about change, but also how we personally, individually process what's going on all around us. So, welcome to the show. I'm glad that you guys are still uh, tuning in and giving us an opportunity just to sort of go through our process right here in front of you. Randy, what's going on, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I'm doing great. I came on the other night and we were talking about the Rittenhouse verdict, and Vaughn jumped on. My nephew Joseph jumped on. We had a really good conversation.
Yeah, I saw some of it. I saw some of it.
Okay, all right, cool. So I wanted to see if people wanted to continue. You know me, I try not to go down the rabbit hole with these things, right? I limit how much I limit how many videos I watch. I even limit whose pages I go to because um uh, not because I don't want to know, but I have to protect myself. So for instance, I don't know if well, listen, you just got on Facebook, so I doubt if you got Instagram, right? There's no way you have an Instagram account.
I had one.
Okay.
But I realized I'm like, I'm not.
You don't never go on it, right?
Man, so
right. I could
cut it off.
Even if I want you to see something on Facebook, I got to text you and say, hey, Randy, go look at this so-and-so or whatever. So I know you have Instagram, but I brought that up because the Real Deal, Hughley, Sean King, their pages are the pages that really sort of keep our community up on what's going on. Them along with a lot of others. I just call those out because those are sort of the two that I think I can go to and get updates. But even that, I can't stay on their pages long, because if I start scrolling and I see story after story after story of somebody shot or some injustice or something, and it's not that I don't want to know, but I can't inundate myself with this stuff, So yeah, I just want to sort of touch base again, and I will not be on long. I do have an appointment at 5 o'clock, so we won't be on long today. Even if people jump on and I have to leave everybody, that's fine. I can leave you guys to talk. But what do you do? Like, how did you feel when you heard the verdict, and how do you process it, man?
Well, truthfully, man, I really didn't feel anything.
Okay.
Because I really honestly expected it to go that way from the jump.
Okay.
So I didn't get myself like all riled up and upset and want to get out there and start tearing things up.
Right.
But what I did realize after thinking about some things, I see the power of a judge.
Wow. Yes.
And so I kind of understood how it was going to go once. So this is what the thing was. I saw that it was like the judge took the shackles off of Rittenhouse and placed them on the prosecutor.
That's a good analogy, bro.
And I saw that how he basically was going to let the tell, several things. This is stuff that I hear because I really didn't really watch the case.
Okay.
All right. But from just that point of him doing that and then telling, he showed exactly how he saw things and his heart. He showed that all the people that was out there was nothing but looters and rioters,
right,
and other things.
Yeah.
So by him saying,
don't call them victims,
you will not call them victims.
Yeah.
You showing me right then and there what you think about all those people that was out there on this protest. Basically showed me that I'm going to help the defense get this kid off.
Yep.
Because he believed that what this kid did was right at trying to offend himself.
Right.
Not looking at the fact that he crossed state line with the guns, he's walking on and he's walking around and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So all the things that he did showed me exactly what he thought, how he felt, and what he was for.
Right.
And so there's no need to get, for me, like I said, I'm not getting myself all riled up on it because this is a constant thing that is happening. And I was listening to the service this morning, and
me too. I was just about to bring that up. Yeah.
Keith White made a statement, and he said if he was black, he would have been shot.
Right.
So pastor says, well, that's not a fact. Basically that's a fact. But I do know what is a fact. That if he was black, he would have been handled differently.
Oh, no doubt about it.
It maybe not shot. But he wouldn't have been walking around with a rifle around his neck and passing the armed guards waving at him.
Yeah.
Cops would have jumped on him right away. So that is a fact. So it is, maybe he's not been shot, but he wouldn't have got that far. So one thing I come to learn, because I was listening to what was that, was your nephew?
Me and my nephew Joseph and Bond. Yeah.
And Bond. So I've seen hearing some of the things that he was saying about like Malcolm X, Tupac, Martin, and all of the kind of stuff. And so one thing that I come to realize is that what people have to understand is you can't kill truth. Truth is not going to die. When you read, I think it's in Proverbs, the first chapter of Proverbs, it talks about truth being trampled in the street, truth being this, being all of that blurry, but you can't kill truth. And what are you seeing that's being uncovered constantly is truth springing up, rising up, bringing a lot of things to attention.
Right.
And so it's making us more aware, and it's making America aware of where they are. Right. And so we can have all these conversations of people talking, and everybody want to chop it up and go back and forth, and everybody has their opinions and stuff like that. But we understand and believe as Christians that God is a God of righteousness, and He constantly continued to deal with the unrighteousness of man, right. Of a country, of a city, of a state.
Right.
And you constantly keep dealing with the unrighteousness that is going on, and you're going to hear and constantly see. So people saying, what can we do? What can we come together? Listen, I don't want to cast doubt and say that it's never going to happen. But it basically is not going to take place until the scripture says, "To the Prince of Peace comes."
I knew you were about to say that. So I knew
and established.
Right.
It's in the peace. So
I,
you got to continue just continue to live life. You pray every day because people are just like simply just losing they mind. You can't go outside. You take the subway, somebody walk up on you and push you on the tracks. Somebody slash you on the trunk. You know, you constantly hearing all this horror stuff that's going on.
right.
And you wonder what's going on. And I would tell my wife, because I said, look, no matter how people want to look at it, spirits are real.
No doubt about it.
And they're moving amongst us, and they being told, and they doing this, and so
No.
I would say, I said that, you know, the only way you're gonna get some justice if you get somebody like a Dexter. You get somebody like a Dexter who will snatch you off the street,
right.
and retrial you.
Right. Retry you himself. Right.
Retrial you himself, and then get rid of you.
Right. So listen, and thinking of this whole situation from a biblical point of view, you know, when you talk about truth being trampled but not dying, that is the truth, and it does give, I wouldn't say a sense of comfort, but it gives you a sense of everything that we're going through. It's not the way it's going to end, and it won't be this way forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a believer. But my thoughts are, how do we, as Christians, as born again believers, how do we take that concept and truly believe it, absolutely believe that, you know, truth is going to stand and the Prince of Peace is coming back, but, you know, we are spiritual beings living in this physical world. How do we take that and not just go into a shell and saying, I'm just waiting for the Lord to come back? We had this conversation before, you know, growing up in the church. I mean, from the time that I could hear and understand, I've heard God, the Lord is coming back. He's coming back soon. He's coming back soon. I mean, they would say it as if he's coming back in 2 weeks, right? And now I'm 54, 55 years old, and, you know, they're still saying he's coming back soon. Yes, I believe he's coming back. But how do we operate effectively now in this physical world, not being laid back, or not feeling like I'm not going to do nothing, I'm just going to wait for the Lord to come back? And I say that because of this. My mind goes to people like Keith White. Like, he's out on the front lines every day. He's dealing with this stuff every single day. And, you know, I think about Erica doing DEI work and all of this stuff. Like, they deal with this stuff on a constant basis, and it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. So how should they really, like the thing says, protect their mental health, protect their well-being? Because, you know, we're out there fighting. Like, again, my mind goes to Keith. He's out there fighting, but he has a beautiful wife, beautiful family, beautiful children, and they deserve to have him, the best of him. Thinking about all of our other leaders, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of these leaders that we had. And, you know, listen, they dedicated their lives to this work, and it's a daily thing. And I think we all appreciate them, and I know that their family appreciates them. But do they get to live a full life? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that because, again, it goes to truth. Because truth, when you talk about people who are walking in truth and speaking a certain language in a certain way, it brings fear.
Yes.
To people.
Right. Absolutely.
And so now, here you are, you talking all this stuff, and you know how it goes. If I can't buy you off, if I cannot persuade you
Uh-huh.
any type of way, then, and if you're going to become a threat to what I do, to my business, whether
Yep.
it's crooked, whatever it kind of stuff, then I have to get rid of you. You can
Yeah.
become a threat to you.
That's a problem, bro.
And so, but when you talk about the peace, listen, it's 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 always about balance. And I know sometimes it's hard to be
Right.
when you are a lawyer and you fighting for someone or you dealing with these type of things. It can be challenging. And so the thing is that scripture says, look, I will keep your mind in perfect peace,
Perfect peace. Mm-hmm.
whose mind is stayed on me.
Right.
So it is imbalancing. So if you feel that you have to call, you have to learn to know what you can take on
And
and
what
what you
you can.
cannot take on,
Yes.
what
Yes.
you can support
Uh-huh.
and what you cannot support.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, so you have to build within your time, your schedule, time for your family, time for this, you know, because see, I have to make sure that look, I gotta spend time with my family, gotta spend time with my girls, I gotta spend
Right.
time with that. But
Right.
your boss might be saying, look, I need all hands on deck on
Yep.
this.
Right.
And I
Right.
need you to be to just and because but I think that they can respect you if you saying, listen, this is what I made all this clear when I signed up.
Uh-huh. Right.
You
Yes.
know, but especially if they bringing you on. But then sometimes, you know, you get called into these situations and stuff like that with a job, but you have to make sure that you gotta say, listen, this is what it is. You know, I can't do it all the time. I would like to be. Maybe I could do it from here, maybe do it from there, but you have to be able to protect yourself. You got to give yourself some kind of mental break. And you
Right.
do that by maybe going on vacation, you
Uh-huh.
getting away, you getting
Right.
away from everything just to rest your mind and protect everything around you. Because look, even if you gave like you did 6 months of work and then you turn around, I'm going to do 6 months
A
of
vacation. Yep.
crap. I got to do that because the power of people got to understand a lot of sicknesses and things like that come from the stress.
Yes, Randy, absolutely. And this is the problem. So even like, especially in this field, when you're doing this type of work, you do this work. So you say you do this work for 6 months and you're in the middle of it, you're in the throes of it, and say you're an attorney or whatever it is, right? And you say, I'm gonna take a vacation. Even on vacation, when you walk into a store and someone looks at you the wrong way, treats you the wrong way, like it's a constant thing for us, for people of color. Like, so even in trying to take a vacation, our mind is sensitized to all of these other things happening, right? And it's difficult to turn that off. It's almost impossible to not see it and then to turn yourself off to where, okay, I'm not going to respond to it, I'm not going to react to it. It's virtually impossible. um but I do, you're absolutely right. And this is something that pastor has spoken about also, balance. How you balance your life, how you build things into your schedule, daily schedule, weekly schedule, monthly schedule, your 5-year plan, building
Uh-huh.
these things in. And that's the importance of having more than just one person doing this work. So almost like, I could hand it off to somebody. Okay, I did 6 months, and then I could go away and know that whatever's happening, someone else that's capable is handling it, is addressing it, and then I could sort of rest my brain. But this is the problem. When you get to a position of leadership and notoriety, not everybody wants anyone else to step into that space. Not everyone wants anyone else to sort of, and it's unfortunate. I'm gonna use this term, And if it's offensive, I apologize. But no one else wants anyone else to get their shine, even though it seems crazy to think of being in that space as an advocate or something as you getting shine. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
like really thinking about, listen, I want to live a long, healthy, peaceful life. I want to spend all of my days with my wife. I want us to be together and healthy and wealthy. And you're so right, Randy. That stress shows up in so many different ways. And even as a culture, as Black people, we already have these pre-existing conditions that are passed down
Right.
through our
Right.
DNA. It's so important. That's why the first thing that I posted, I didn't post anything angry. I didn't post any disgust with the verdict. I posted that, brothers and sisters, protect your mental health. It's so important to think about it. Bishop Oliver, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. Louisa, how are you doing? Yes, Louisa, we're back third week in a row. I know you're proud of us. You wasn't here at the beginning. I was like, does Louisa just think we're not coming on today? But we are here. Bishop Oliver, great to see you, man. You're more than welcome to join the conversation. And I actually would like to ask you this question. I don't know if you was here at the beginning, but um, people have different ideas about the Rittenhouse verdict. But I would love to hear from you about how you personally deal with any anxiety or stress, that if it brought any anxiety or stress, or maybe you're like Randy, like, I've sort of expected this type of verdict and I didn't get upset. But how do you deal with these things when they happen? And the other thing, Randy, they happen so often. It's like, you get over one thing and then next week there's something else that we have to deal with.
Yeah,
you know
'cause it's like you become almost numb to it.
yeah, right.
And so when you talk about that, say things like it's not a fact, it's to me, it's like, look, I have to look at the pattern.
Right. Yes.
And this is why I draw my conclusion through, you know, because you want to talk about that things are in a pattern and things are constantly happening.
Right.
So I have to, the
Look
other
at the
choice,
patterns. Right.
I look at the pattern that is always happening.
Right.
And, but a lot has to do also with the way that people perceive things, people worldview, the way they see things, the way they
Uh-huh.
see us and has been seeing us.
Right.
Like when they was talking about those three cops that was on that involved in that young kid that they got the trial going on now, the Audrey or
Right. Yes.
and,
Aubrey
yeah,
trial.
so,
Uh-huh.
and so I just heard that like one just said, well, um, that I saw him running, so I knew that he did something wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
based on somebody running,
You assumed,
you assume that he did something wrong.
and then you chased him. You're not a police officer.
So this is the thing that what how people see us because of what they've been taught. And we all know that like racism and all that kind of stuff is taught in the
Absolutely.
home from a
Yep.
young age, and what you've been seeing and how things are. And so you have to learn to, it's easy to get upset, it's easy to get mad, it's easy to want to pick your fists up and start fighting and knock people in the head, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, look, man, I can't change a person's heart. And
Right.
that's what it is. It's a heart condition.
Mm-hmm.
And only I can really do is just continue just to pray for leaderships, for the people that's in there, that's constantly fighting, that things can be put in place that can help. But it's not all just about putting the rules and these things in there. It's about really, really getting down and teaching people and showing people. And even if you do it, sometimes people just still don't want to see it.
No, they
They don't
don't.
want to see it. You can sit down and have a conversation and chop it up, all this kind of stuff, and they still won't see it. They
Right.
don't want to see it. I mean, so what do? It's like you're saying, there's no need of you and me sitting down having a talk about God if you don't
Right.
believe him.
Eh, right, Randy.
So
Right.
because I can't prove to you that there's a God.
Mm-hmm.
Scripture teaches us that either you believe it, you got to first believe
Right.
that he
Right.
is. Now,
Right.
if you believe that he is, then we can have a conversation. But if
Uh-huh.
you don't tell me that there's no God, and I don't believe no God, then why I'm going to try to spend all this time and energy trying to convince you of something that you don't believe in?
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I'm not. So it's like the scripture said, you can't make peace with a man who has war in his heart.
Mm, mm.
If you got war in your heart, then how can we talk about peace if that's all
Right.
you see?
Right. Right.
So you just got to just really just leave that, trust God in them, pray for them, and keep moving. I mean, uh, uh, um, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of different sides to the story because you don't want to get relaxed, you don't want to stop, you want to keep
Yeah.
your feet on the gas, you want to keep moving. But
You
I
gotta
have
keep
a,
fighting it.
I had a friend that said one thing to me the other day. He was talking to me. I called him up and he was like, look, he said that, like, he kind of been watching in the case and he said, look, I just don't really. He said, the only thing that good came out of this was that the people that he shot wasn't black.
Right. Right. So
He
he
said,
shot the
that's how he said. He said, that's only good.
right.
He said, because then it would have been much more of a problem
Of
and stuff like that.
huge problem.
So, and I didn't know that there was somebody that had a gun pointed at the guy.
Yes, absolutely. So that is why I mean, I can't say that is why, but that contributed to the verdict. I mean, self-defense. Now, looking at it from the bare minimum facts, yeah, someone points a gun at you, you shoot back, but then of course we go back to, well, why was he there in the first place? Why did he have a gun? Why did he travel all this way to be there and put himself in harm's way? He wasn't stand. They say he was there to protect the store. He wasn't by the store. He was roaming the streets with other people with guns. But again, um, understanding law and all of that stuff is so important. I see Bishop Oliver answer my question here. Let me see. Let's see if I could put it all up, if it'll all fit. I truly try to remember I'm in the world, but not of the world. So I minimize anxiety by understanding that unless the Lord is our help, the systems of this world isn't favorable to the saints nor people of color. Unless the love of God is actively, I have to put it down to, is, let me see, is actively manifest in our lives. Yeah, Bishop, listen, I get it. I totally, totally, totally get it. We're in the world, not of the world. Um, but like I asked Randy, how do we, because I truly believe it, I truly believe that same thing. But how do we continue to blossom, thrive in this world that is so set against us as saints and as people of color without, driving ourselves crazy? And how do we even rest in those scriptures and not get complacent and say, I'm just going to wait for the Lord to come, right? Because there is work to be done. If we all just throw up our hands, like, we know that it's a spiritual war, right? It's spiritual warfare. Do we only pray and look for God to fight off the forces of evil when it is really affecting our daily lives and the lives. And I mean, a lot of us can sort of take this stuff, but then you think about your children. Like, I need for my daughters to be able to live a peaceful, prosperous life. So it's so much that goes into it. Um, Louisa, he did not own a store. He apparently, I guess the story is he came there and he was trying to protect some friend's store or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't have all the exact details. Um, I don't do the study and stuff like my other guys that come on the show. But and Randy, you mentioned him traveling with the gun. Apparently, he didn't travel across state lines with the gun. Apparently, he came there and someone bought the gun there and gave it to him.
Oh,
And
okay.
something, I guess that's why, like, the gun charge was um dismissed. And then going back to something else you said, um the judge, man, like you said, the judge was clearly making a case for the defense. And you talk about influencing a jury. I mean, if the judge is there saying all of these things right in front of the jury and the jury hears all this stuff, how do you think that does not influence the jury? And I love that analogy, taking the shackles off of Rittenhouse and putting them on the prosecution. I love that. I love that. That's so real. It's
Yeah,
so
I
real.
mean, like I said, I think it's also about learning to fight your battles.
Hmm.
Like me and my wife is going through this thing of setting up our finances.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
So we moving from one guy to another person who's like a financial wizard.
Okay.
So and so our whole thing is like she's looking to retire in about 2 years. I'm retired. So now our thing is to enjoy life. That's
Uh-huh.
what we're looking at. We're looking at enjoying life. I try
Uh-huh.
not to get caught up in a whole lot of stuff. And you find your chances, you pick your fights and all this kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff. But you gotta constantly remember that this stuff is not gonna go away. And like I said, it's not gonna happen until the Prince of Peace comes and establishes his kingdom. I mean, the bottom line is there's going to always be, like the Bible says, there's always going to be wars and rumors of wars. There's always
Uh-huh.
going to be things constantly going on. There's always going to be things happening because this is the world in which we live in. We are in a place where there's turmoil. And I constantly say that you see the Bible constantly fulfilling itself.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
over every day, every day. Everybody don't see it. People just going around being oblivious to the things that are happening. So this type of stuff is going to constantly keep going on. This type of stuff is going to continue to happen. Every day it's going to be something else. Every day it's going to be something new. And like I said, yeah, you got people that's out there, and all you can do is continue to pray for the people that's out there on the front lines, and,
Right.
and to continue to bring a light to where the darkness is at. And I believe that God is doing that because He is a God of righteousness,
Right.
and He
Right.
is constantly exposing the unrighteousness. America has a lot of stuff that they have to repent of.
Hmm. And do you think they ever will?
Well, first of all, I don't think they ever will because to me, because if you have to first believe that you did something wrong.
Uh-huh. Right. Right. Exactly.
if,
Exactly.
if you don't believe that you did anything wrong, then you would never think like why would I admit to some things?
Right.
Because that's why people say, well, we need to get what's that word that they use to get paid for what we the things that they owe us
Oh,
and
oh, oh, yes. Reparations.
reparation. So
Uh-huh.
but in order for that to happen, they have to basically admit that they did something wrong.
Right.
And
Right.
if they admit that you're wrong, then now I can file to say, well, then you do this, do this, do that. But they're not going to admit to that they did anything wrong. I mean, they'll just do some things as to cover up and try to
Uh-huh.
make things nice and make things better. But it's not going to be that I admit to it. You know,
Right. Right.
so because it's like anything. If you're going to come to the Lord, you got to first say, listen, I realize that I'm a sinner,
Uh-huh.
and
Right.
and
Right.
confess that I am.
Right.
You know, but if I don't never come, I don't ever confess, then I can never accept Him as my Savior unless I go through these steps in doing that. That's what
Right.
Scripture teaches us. And
Right.
America's not going to do that, but they will, hand out a little something here and a little something there and give you a little
Uh-huh.
something there. And a lot of time people accept it.
Yeah, they'll take it. Yeah, they'll
They
give
accept
you.
it. So I mean, it's you. Yeah, you have people fighting and stuff like that. But when you talk about people like the reason why, when you talk about Martin Luther King, why it was so successful, because you can tell that this was something that was ordained by God to do it this particular way.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
he said that if you're going to join, we're going to have to do it peacefully.
Right.
I understood Malcolm, but it would have been a difference because we had to show the world, and we still showing the world that we're not violent.
Right.
And we
Absolutely.
showing the world who are the ones that are violent. We showing them constantly.
Right.
You see in all the marches who's really are the violent ones.
Right. Right.
And so by them doing the marching for the bus boycott and this and that, and sitting in the bus and sitting in the
In
counters and
the
get some,
counts. Yep.
we saw who was the violent ones.
Right.
But now, if we would have started striking back and doing all this kind of stuff, there would have been a whole different outcome.
Of course.
So the
Of
whole
course.
thing was to show the world that this is what's going on.
And we're still showing them.
People started taking notice. Hold on, these people just, and that's how the ball started going.
Yep.
But now, and we still try to do that, and you still see where the violence is coming from.
Right.
So it's just something that we have to just learn. I think.
So and then I have another question actually for you, for the bishop, and for Louisa. So Bishop, I see your comment, man. Not complacent. Listen, I get it. Not complacent. Involved to the measure that we can be. That is so important, man. We must be actively involved in using godly influence to enact righteousness without being overly burdened. You said a mouthful, man, and that can be very difficult to do. You know what I mean? But I love that, be involved to the measure that we can be, because whatever you're called to, like, so if you are equipped and called and educated to do certain things in this fight, that's why I believe we need everybody. We need people that's locked up in the prayer closet. We need those attorneys in the courtroom. We need the senators and governors and everyone. We need them all in the fight, and even the protesters, even the people that are out there marching that may seem like they don't have a whole lot of influence, but those protests and those numbers mean a lot. Right back to what you just said, Randy, if for nothing else, to show the rest of the world, this is really what's going on. This is really what's happening. And this is what's been happening for centuries in this country. Not that we want to burn the country down,
Right.
but we want to be treated fairly. We want a fair system. And Louisa, yes, we did. We both watched the watched service today this morning. And yeah, Keith White, Dr. Keith White, came up and was talking about the Rittenhouse verdict. And I loved that dialogue that they had. I loved the back and forth, because it really was an example of how we can really interact with one another and share thoughts and share ideas, without being disagreeable. disagree without being disagreeable. I take that from Darwin Hobbes. I was in a meeting with Darwin Hobbes, and he says that all the time, and I think it's so important to be able to disagree without being disagreeable. I think they really exemplified that today, even though, and 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 I don't think that I think Pastor was really giving an example of the type of conversations that are happening. Not that he wholeheartedly believed all of those things, but this is what people, when we have this conversation, this is what people will say. Well, the guy pointed the gun at him. Well, the guy tried to hit him with a skateboard. Um, and like you said, well, we don't know for sure that if it was a black man that he would have been shot. But like you said, we look at patterns. We look at patterns. And this is what we've been taught, right?
That's what we've been taught.
Levels and stages and patterns and principles, correct? This is what we were taught. So we look at patterns, and if the pattern consistently shows that a black man doesn't get the same treatment, or a black man is shot down, or a black man is knelt on for however many minutes till he stops breathing, then we can pretty assuredly say that this is what would happen in this situation. So,
this is the fact.
Exactly. Yes, Louisa, it was really, really good. So then I have a question, and Bishop, I hope you're still there. So we talk about having these conversations, sharing truth, showing truth. Some people just don't want to accept it or will not admit to it. But this is my question, because we know truth is truth. And if you plant a seed of truth, it grows, correct? Even in the heart of someone that doesn't want to accept the truth, that is diametrically opposed to the truth, do you believe that truth has the power to grow and be fruitful in that type of person's life? Do you believe that?
For me, yes, without a doubt.
Okay.
I believe that truth does penetrate. That's why you should always speak the truth. You don't know where it's gonna land, where it's gonna start to root, but you speak the truth. And I find that people who are lovers of truth, now don't get me wrong, truth hurts.
Absolutely. Yes.
The truth does hurt, and most people don't want to face the truth. But see, something about truth. Once that truth is spoken, and if it's spoken and taken root, you're going about your business. And late at night, while that person is sleeping, truth is working. You find yourself wrestling. You find yourself tossing. You find yourself turning, because truth is speaking to you, making you see yourself. Right. See, one thing I come to understand, I said that, there's people. There's the people who we allow people to see. And then there's the one that God sees. The scripture says that man looks at the outward appearance, but God sees the heart. And God is looking to change the heart, because I personally believe that is where the real you live.
Absolutely.
That's the one that you don't like for people to see. And so you come to church and you go around your friends and you're smiling and you praising God and all that kind of stuff. But in your home, you as mean as a snake. Your family don't is afraid of you, this and that. But that's the one that God is trying to. That's the one that not trying. That's the one that God is dealing with. So when you ask God to work on you, He's working on you. He's not necessarily looking at the person. He's looking at you. He's dealing with your heart, because that is where the inner truth. That's where the real person is. So that's where the truth is constantly working on. So, and some people, if they know that you're a person like you will always say, Rand, I could call Randy, girl. I know Randy gonna tell me the truth. You might not like it.
Absolutely. I have not liked a lot of things that you told me.
but I'll tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
But people who like the truth and walk in truth and can accept truth won't run from it.
Right.
See, a lot of time we are trying to find people who would agree with us.
Yes.
Person who walks in truth is not going to come to that person because they automatically knows. There was in the scriptures, they was talking about prophets, and they was planning on this battle. So they was going to call for the prophet. Maybe Bishop Oliver know where I'm going with this, and he can kind of guide me. And they called for the prophet, and he was saying, "Look, I don't want to deal with this guy because he never tells me anything I want to hear. He always telling me something totally different." You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and it was to the point that prophets was being killed
because they weren't saying what the leaders wanted to hear.
What they wanted to hear. Because you ask them, listen, I'm going into battle. I want to know the Lord's going to fight for me. Will I win? He says, no, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose. You will not win.
Kill him. Now you asked me, and the Lord spoke to me. God spoke to me and told me, no, you're going to lose this.
Wow.
I'm not going to fight for you.
Wow.
So, and this was one of the things that how they was going about, and they would go to the prophets and stuff like that and ask the prophets questions, and if they didn't get back the answers, they would take them out. So some people just don't want to deal with truth.
Can't handle the truth.
They can't handle the truth. See, all you're doing is just speaking. Your job is just to speak it.
Right. And whatever happens, happens.
And then you let God does. You plant the seed. God will do the watering and then the nurturing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you just allow it. You just allow it to grow. And this has been many a times, even in my life, where things were spoken to my life, and I didn't like it. But I'm home, man, and that thing is ringing in my ear. I was just talking to my brother, who was in the one that was in an accident, and I was telling him, I said, "Listen, man, you need to talk to your friend." Because they was like mad and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, "Say, listen, man, it was an accident. It's you gotta like forgive him, do this, do that." And they didn't want to hear it at the voice. He didn't want to hear it at first, and he was saying, I'm just not I'm just not in the place right now. I know this guy. We've been friends for over 30 something years. I don't want to hear it. This, that, and this. So I said, okay. So I didn't pressure him. But then he called me. And he told me that, he finally spoke to the guy, and he said, out of everybody that was talking, he said, your voice was the only one that kept ringing in my ear.
Man.
I'm like, really? I said, yeah. He said that no matter what, your voice was the only one that I kept hearing. No matter how much I try to be mad, no matter how much I try to be upset, I kept hearing your voice about forgiveness. Forgiveness. And so, but to me, it wasn't my voice, it was just the power of truth.
Right. Gotcha. Yes.
Just the power of truth. And only thing you can do is that you speak it in love and let God do the rest. Because it will somewhere, I don't care if it's 5 years, 10 years, you could be dead and gone. But somehow it will come back up again, and they will remember. I was talking to Thurston about 10 years ago, and he said that to me.
So, and that goes right along with what Bishop was saying. Paul, it's hard to kick against the pricks. Yes, truth will prevail, even when it's being evaded. Even when you kill the person that spoke the truth still lives. And so, even in that story, there's a parallel between this work that is being done today, and even though they may not try to, many people, they may not try to kill them physically, but they'll try to kill their character. They'll try to come up with some type of story that makes them look horrible in front of the people, instead of just killing them off. But the reality is, truth is truth. It will live. It will grow. I think this is the problem that a lot of people have. I know this is a problem that I have. I want to see people get theirs, bro. I know, Randy, I understand it's wrong for me to have that attitude, right? I know it's hard.
It's the human side of you.
It is, man. Like, I want to see
the
people
human side
get
of you.
right? Because inside I know, speak truth, do the right thing, and truth will prevail. I may not see it. I may be long gone before we see the results of all of this truth that we're speaking, right? And I say this to people all the time. I understand that all of this stuff has been going on for centuries. It's not going to change with one protest. It's not going to change with one incident. It takes a long time. I do believe, however, I don't know if it's going to be people waking up and coming to their senses. I don't know if it's going to be when the Lord of Lords comes back to take his rightful place. I don't know if that's going to be it. But you know, I know that, and I know I'm not the only one. I want to see people get got, man. I want even movies. Listen, even watching movies, dude. If I'm watching a movie and the bad guy does not get caught at the end, I am upset, bro. I am mad. Like, how can you end the movie? He walks away. He gets free. I know, John. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Absolutely.
But you know what?
Lord, can you show me the vengeance, please?
But you know what's funny? You find sometime in the movie, you find yourself rooting for the bad guy.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And then that goes all the way back to our perspective and how we see things, bro. Absolutely.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you something, man, and how I looked at it. And I think about truth and why I say that truth will never die. Because I look at the life of Jesus Christ, who said he is the way, the truth, and the light. And how they try to take truth out.
Right.
They beat it. They put 72 thorns on truth. They whip truth all night long. They bury truth. They put a stone in front of truth. He said that I will rise again. Truth will rise again.
Wow.
And you constantly keep seeing it. And here he is today. Truth still alive and still moving. And so no matter what you do with truth, you can try to snuff it away. You can try to hide it. You can try to, cover it up. 5 years, 10 years, somehow it pops back up again. And that's why I say truth is so powerful that you can't get rid of truth. It's just one thing that you can never, ever do. 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, it could be a century. It's going to come back up again.
Yeah, man.
And so the thing is that we must begin to really proceed. Like you said, you have a lot of people just talking.
Right.
And a lot of people angry. But anger is not going to be the answer.
Not at all.
Truth is the answer. And we need to have people in position that is speaking truth, that is speaking and hearing God and speaking truth, speaking it in love. Because once you do that and you leave that and you place that seed there, then you leave it for God to do you leave God for.
I agree, Louisa. He is preaching today. He's preaching
I'm
real
telling
good.
you, man. It's. I'm a person that I came up in church, and I had. Excuse me for saying I had my behind whipped many a times
Of course.
by Bishop and Bishop Bishop Oliver wouldn't know. I mean, I've been sat down, I've been preached on, I've been like that, but it made me take a look at myself and see myself as far as a husband
Mm-hmm.
to my family. I mean, I didn't have the relationship that I should have had with my first daughter. You know,
Uh-huh.
so,
Right.
so
Right.
trying to mend those things as I got older, trying to build that relationship with my oldest daughter, so but and I just thank God for his word and for allowing me to see myself,
Mm.
because he allowed me to see me for who I was. When I
Mm-hmm.
married Rachel, he had to show me, like, if you don't change, you're gonna be in the same predicament again as the first
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. Yes, Randy.
one. And so, but if I wasn't a person that I was stuck, see, and I was saying that I learned that the key is humbleness, because when you are a person who is humble, then you can accept things being spoken into your life.
Right.
And because humble is the only thing that can combat pride,
That pride. Right. 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 Right.
because pride will keep you from moving forward. Pride will make you think that you're more than what you really are. Pride will tell you that, look, it would be better if you was involved. you know
Right. Right.
Nobody can sing that song but
Yep.
you.
Mm. Mm.
Pride
Mm.
put you into a position and make you reap that you are this. That was the fall because of Lucifer,
Right.
because of his pride.
Right.
You
Right.
know, yeah. So when you start seeing that, you go into that thing, because the scripture teaches that pride into his being, and he said, "Look, there's no one made like me. I'm
Right.
the one and only." But the problem was he forgot who made him.
Mm. Mm.
And so he goes up thinking that he's going to dethrone God, and then he finds himself cast out, cast down, and in darkness because of pride.
Pride.
And so for me, I went through this whole thing in my life, but it was all because I was able to come out because of humbleness.
Mm-hmm.
And that opened the door for me to be able to accept truth. Believe me, I cried many a nights because truth hurts.
Truth hurts, bro.
The truth
Truth
hurts.
hurts,
But
man.
when you embrace truth and you're a person of truth, now you open your door for God to be able to do things in your life,
Yeah.
to take you to places that you could not imagine that he would take you, all because of you are of truth and humbleness.
Mm.
And so I just think that with all this stuff that's going on, that balance is the key of life. We do got to pray for the people that's out there every day fighting. You
Absolutely.
have to know that you are called to do it. You have to know that this is what you feel that God is placing you to do, and to get out there and then fight for it, and those on the front line that's going for it. But you just have a lot of people, like some of these shows I can't listen to, like you said, Hooli and all these.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There's a lot of bitter people and stuff like that, and I don't want to just. I mean, they might have some good views and stuff like that, and you got people constantly calling in and writing in and all this
Right.
kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, no one has the answer, but the
Right.
church does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The answer is truth. Truth is the answer. So listen, you and Bishop Oliver and Louisa, y'all not gonna keep me in church all day again, all right? Lord delivered me from all day church a long time ago. All right. So y'all not gonna keep me here for hours and hours. I told you I was getting off at 5 o'clock. I got another appointment. But listen, this is such a great conversation. I truly, I mean, Randy, you know I love you, man. I love these conversations. Bishop, thanks for joining us. Louisa, thank you for chiming in today and being here every single week. I love it. Thank you so much, John Lewis. And I'm
Yes.
looking on my other page. Renee chimed in. Checked us out for a little bit. Denise, Rosalia, Dolores, sister-in-law, I love you. Vaughn, of course, he was watching. He couldn't be on with us, but he was watching. And everybody that sort of like just chimed in today. Thank you guys for being a part. I know, Bishop. I know it's just the first hour, but I only got an hour for y'all today, man. That's it. But you know, I heard Louisa's voice ringing in my ear. If I would have missed today, that would have been an issue. So I thank you guys. Randy, you got any final words, man?
No, man. I said all that I had to say. I'm glad that my brother, a friend,
Yeah, man.
um, joined in.
Absolutely.
Bishop Donald Oliver. I
Yeah.
saw something on his page that he's a part of some accountant at some radio station, or he's on radio or something like that.
Who, Bishop?
Yeah.
Really? I gotta
Yeah.
go check it out.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I was going to call him and find out what it is, but they said something about welcome Bishop Donald Oliver, our account assistant, or something like that. So to this radio station or whatever he is. So I'll find out more about that. And, you know, Louisa for always being there.
Absolutely.
Helping me keep Thurston in check. You know, helping me keep him in check.
Absolutely.
You know, he's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it, man. Thank God for everybody.
Yeah, I thank God for this.
Here it is. That's what he said.
New account executive. Okay. Nice. I love it. Hold on. Here we go. I'm a new account executive salesperson. Awesome. Bishop, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, Louisa, as well. So everybody, I'm off to go enjoy some family time with some of our best friends. So this is the one thing I wanted to say, and I think this is probably something we're going to discuss in an upcoming show. You know, and I shared this briefly with Vaughn when we were talking the other day. You know, we're upset. There's a lot of stuff going on. People are dying in the streets, and you know, it's like this system that's set against us. But we're still here, man. We're still here. We're still thriving. We are still growing. I mean, it's really amazing to think of everything that has gone on in this country, the way it's been set up, and the fact that we're still here. We're still building, growing families, really having a tremendous impact on the entire culture of not only this country but the world. So the fact that we're still here is a testament to God's grace and mercy and strength, and to our people. Even those that don't believe, there is a power that God has placed in us to really survive and thrive. So to everybody that's out there listening, man, keep your head up, protect your mental health no matter what happens, because we know this just happened this week. I'm sure something else will happen next week or the week after. Protect your mental health. Make sure you speak truth. And even when it's not accepted, know that that truth is a seed that will grow into an experience into someone's life. And even if not that individual, maybe their child's life or their grandchild's life. So truth will grow. Truth will grow. Thank you. Thank you for that message today, Randy. Thank you for bringing the word. I'm going to send your offering over to you later this week.
Listen, make sure you get your music over to Bishop. He said he's going to be bringing programming and gospel music.
Oh, that's what's up. Absolutely. Oh, I got some music for you, Bishop. We got to sit down and talk, man. Sweet, soon to be an on-air personality. I love it. I love it, man. That's great. So once you're all set, please let us know. We would love to stay connected, and however we can help you grow and build, we are here, bro. That's why we're here. We're definitely going to support you wherever you are. So let
Amen.
us know about
Amen.
it. Let us know, man. Let us know. And to everybody else, man, until the next time, until the next time we see you, don't just endure life, but embrace it and live it out loud. We love you guys. Have an awesome, awesome week. God bless.